What's going on, guys? I'm Mac and welcome back to another 10-minute video. And in today's video, we're actually checking back up on one of my previous topics, one-trick ponies. If you haven't seen that already, make sure to check that video out. I think I did pretty good. And we're talking about specifically Brigitte. I actually almost just called her Overwatch. I say that as a joke, Brigitte Overwatch, but her full name's Brigitte Lindholm. Anyways, Brig. We're talking about Brig today, and why Brigitte in 2025? Why would you play her? And I'm going to do one of those like persuasive essays you did in high school or college, or what you use for ChatGPT now, and give you some reasons why and why not, and my thoughts and how I play her. And yeah, that's probably going to be the video, so I hope you guys enjoy, and let's jump straight into the action. So, first of all, what are my credentials? Oh, what gives me the right to talk about Brigitte Overwatch in such a way? Well, I believe I'm almost at 700 hours in the character. I'm level over 200 at this point, and I also play a lot, or actually too much, competitive Overwatch in a multitude of different ways. I play in primarily Masters, GM's lobbies on console and on PC. I also play a lot of more collegiate type Overwatch. I also do competitive scrimming as well. So I've seen Brigitte in a multitude of different lights. I've seen her in the casual light, I've seen her in the competitive light, and I've seen her in the hyper competitive light, which is OWCS / collegiate stuff. So I can say with a strong, very strong voice that I know her pretty well. It's a decent knowledge of what Brigitte is currently right now, and where she has been previous as well. And Brigitte, as it is probably the most average BT character there is. However, she can be far better, and in some cases far worse, than that B tier ranking. And let me explain why, with beginning perks. We're talking about perks first. Perks are really cool. So, rapid firing through some of the perks and why they're useful in different scenarios. We'll go through the minor perks first. She has Combat Medic and Morale Boost. Combat basically is your main go out and brawl type perk, so it basically enables her to brawl out way more by reducing the cooldown of her packs by 0.5 seconds every single time she hits somebody with her mace. But if you're brawling out, you're hitting people with your mace. However, the other perk, Morale Boost, is more of that kind of pokey but last resort minor perk. It's a oxymoron, I think. What I mean by that is if you truly feel like you're not going to be able to brawl, you're dealing with some ridiculous dive you're having to bash out of, or stay in a very high place with your Ana, more than likely you're probably going to need the morale boost. Now going over to her major perks, one of them is useful, one of them, in my opinion, is just horrible. It's such a bad perk. I can't stand it, and it angers me that somehow this has become a major perk when it was a minor perk just a couple of seasons ago. And it is Inspiring Strike. Jeez Louise. This thing gives you an increased speed boost for 2 seconds and also activates your Inspire instantly whenever you shield bash somebody. Okay, not the worst in the world. However, it's the worst in the world. This thing was pretty decent as a minor perk. You'd maybe use it as the minor, and then you'd combo with the next perk we're about to talk about. But now you just kind of, what you're supposed to pick the speed boost over the crazy brawly hitty perk, which I'll talk about in just a second. Let me get to it. And then the Inspire buff, that does nothing. I've yet to feel the impact of this. I have tried and forced it in many of my games, but I end up somehow with less healing sometimes, and I just don't understand it. So going into the perk, which I think is one of easily her best perk, and it is the Whiplash. This thing is the reason why she is a brawl demon. She can 1v1 a lot of characters specifically because of this perk. Now, if you don't know, the old combo was hit, whip shot, hit, bash, whip shot. So it's really fast. It works really, really well. However, now it works even better. If you whip shot somebody, it will now throw them against any object. If they hit any object, they will take an extra 50 damage. This is on top of the whip shot damage of 70. This is also on top of if you shield bash somebody, the recent buff to shield bash, which it now does 70 damage. That's like over 200 damage. That's nearly 200 damage for 2 abilities. That's insane. Plus an extra little hit in there that's over 200. You're destroying squishes of that sort of power. Minus, like, I don't know, Wu Yang and Kiriko and any other character that has 50 boon abilities get out of the fight. However, she's a beast, and it can actually surprise a lot of people. I think people minimize this sort of damage that she can do strictly because she's having to get in people's faces, do all this sort of stuff. The surprise factor that I have felt between my scrims, between my fun little games or whatever, is people will just straight up be like, how'd you do that? The other day I was actually playing a kind of fun matchup on a streamer's site. Go check out Squicko TV, by the way. She does like monthly or bi-monthly community games. And I was playing on that, and I killed a Reaper like instantly. Just completely decimated the Reaper. And I got a message after like, how'd you do that? What was that? That's unfair. You're cheating somehow. That's the type of damage that Brigitte can just pull out of nowhere, where you can just destroy people. And that's what makes her so powerful. The difference between old Brigitte and new Brigitte is the health and shield. That's just strictly what it is. She used to be able to brawl out and destroy tanks or DPS strictly because she's just unkillable. Now she is very killable and very squishy, and you can kind of rotate out the 250 health and 250 shield for basically like a 500 HP health pool. It doesn't fully work like that, but it's near that. But this whole brawly aspect of Brig, which is slowly coming into picture, and they're kind of wanting you to go towards this, and it's fire. I do like the direction the indie development team that is Blizzard is going towards. Now, there has been a couple extra changes to Brig, like how her bash works. Actually, they somehow broke her stun on her bash, where she couldn't hit multiple people for a short period of time. That was kind of weird, but her bash does work a little differently now, which has kind of been a, I wouldn't call it a buff, I wouldn't call it a nerf, I just call it a change, in that if you're way too close to somebody, let's say half a tracer length away, you can actually instantly bash somebody without the sound, the visual indicator, or the physical indicator if you're on console, or the vibration as it were. And I've had to get used to this as I am a controller player on PC and console. However, it's interesting. I've had to adjust my own playstyle to feel this difference, but it is definitely a difference, and I just want to note that out while we go through all this stuff. Now, an Overwatch player is nothing without their teammates. Without their teammates, just in general. There's no I in team, as it were, and you do have to play around your teammates, and you have to play around the enemy as well. And that's where Brigitte becomes a far more challenging individual, as for a multitude of reasons, you're going to get a lot of Brig swap, as a lot of people either don't fully understand the character, and if they do understand it and you're one-tricking her and you're playing her into a bad matchup, then you kind of just have to mute chat and just keep playing along, because you're actually probably playing badly into that. Anyways, minus that, normally people will say some stuff, but I would say just kind of lock in and don't worry about it if you really want to start learning Brig, as it is a learning curve. I wouldn't say it's as big as a Tracer or a Doomfist or something. However, there's a lot to learn about Brig. The most basic stuff when it comes to hurt, inspire, and packs are pretty easy to learn, but developing the playstyle that you want to build towards, maybe a brawly, or maybe a more of a traditional sit back with your Ana dive type playstyle, you're going to need to play around your teammate to a certain extent. If you can maybe talk in voice chat and get your DPS to run with you, or play with your duo or whatever, this would enable her a lot. And also if her tanks play with her. I think Brig is a very misunderstood character, and it's kind of in an odd spot at the moment, as a lot of the metas that she's been in part of more recently, as she's a main support. And if you want to know more about that, actually I'll pop a video on the screen right now you should go check out, leave it in the description down below. This will explain main and flex supports if you want to hear more about this. It's more of a competitive term, but she's in a very odd position, as Lucio is by far the best main support. I'm just gonna put that out there, and Wu Yang is becoming a main support, question mark. I'm not totally sure yet. That's jury's still out on that. So she is in an odd spot where she doesn't fully have a space where she can just play wherever she wants, and she did have that for a period of time with the Juno Malga play, but she doesn't have that right now, and I think that is up to the people to decide. I know we're going full meta here. It's up to us and the people watching this video to really decide where should Brig go and how should Brig play. I personally think that she has a ridiculous amount of potential that's just waiting to be unlocked, and I also wouldn't mind a little buff or a little change here and there. I know the mid-season patch is actually coming out the day of this video going out. I might make some videos on that. Stay tuned for that. So I'm just interested in seeing where can Brig go from here. Where can this B-list or B-tier character really expand upon the game? So those are my pros, cons, and ideas when it comes to Brig. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Want to hear more about this sort of stuff? I'm down to yap about this more. It's a bit more of a ranty video, but I still hope you guys were entertained by it. So anyways, I'll see you guys next time.